Hi, I'm Andrina Rylick. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go. It's Camille's turn.
Okay.
Sorry. Camille Pingle.
I'm Lindsay Conklin.
Am I next, or are you, Michelle? I'm Cheyenne Montgomery.
Michelle Gordon.
I guess we're switched.
Okay, Andrina, you want to go ahead?
All right. So today we are going to be discussing the questions that we reviewed with our interview community service that's offered in our area, and it was your choice of who you wanted to interview. So the first question that I asked was, what led you to get involved? Oh, my agency was at Department of Human Services. I went to, they still call it the Food Stamp Building, but it is actually the SNAP. It says SNAP once you walk inside SNAP. And
what does that stand for?
Oh, sorry. Hang on one second. I'm opening up my notes real quick. It's let's see. Hang on a second. I have it on my notes, but my Outlook is updating. Hang on one second. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and it provides food, like a food benefit based on your family size and income size. And so it varies per family. You can receive the benefit. It's for low income individuals, so you can have a job and still get the benefits. There has been some confusion about that. If you have a job, you can't get food stamps or SNAP benefits, but that's not true. And it is in this area, one of the questions that I asked, well, the first question I asked was, how did the program director get involved with the nutritional program? She's been in this office in Tazewell, Tennessee for 17 years. And she graduated from a local university with a degree in social work. She has also a MED, Master's in Education. And as the director, she oversees 8 caseworkers. In the area, they serve around 850 families. And she explained kind of the process of what they do. So the intake appointment, when you come in and apply, you fill out an application, you get a meeting. She said there's a meeting that's set up about 2 to 10 days later, but they try to do it as soon as possible, depending on how fast they can get you in. The day that you come in, if you meet all of the requirements, they give you a temporary card and your benefits start right then. So they try to get assistance to families as soon as possible. I asked her if she was always drawn to this, like, was this a program that she was involved with, as like, how did she know she wanted to work in social work or in a social service, a community service program? And the director, her name is Tracy Cosby. She said that this was the only job that was close to her home. And when she first got it, she was a caseworker, and she stayed with the program, and she began to enjoy working with the community, and she saw all the good that it does. She says it does more good than harm. She says there's a lot of controversy on whether or not food stamp programs or benefits programs can help people if they become dependent on it, or if it's there are some people in our area that do abuse it because of Social Security benefits, disability benefits. But for the most part, it does help families supplement their food budget. There are a lot of dual income families, but they're low wage earners. And so she said about 65% of their program works with dual income households. So it's just low wage is what she sees a lot of here in the area, underemployment. And that kind of covered like 3 questions, I'm sorry. And that covers how does it help the families. What she sees most is it's mostly underemployed families. And then let's see here. The questions that I asked about that applied to the ecology of the community and school. The one thing that I asked was about food insecurity, because she's working with food benefits. We have a really big food insecurity problem here in the high schools and elementary schools. And some volunteer organizations have donated food, but these organizations don't have enough resources for it to be an ongoing program. And I asked if they have considered doing anything or getting any groups together to help, since their program does cover nutrition. And the state of Tennessee, the most that Tennessee is doing right now is they offer free breakfast at all schools in the state of Tennessee and free lunch at all schools in the state of Tennessee. And then just about 2 months ago, East Tennessee started to add in a health wagon, and health wagon comes around 1:30, sometime between 1:30 and 2, and they try to send each student with something to eat 45 minutes before they leave school to help with this problem. So that was one thing that I thought was interesting. And then for foster care, I wanted to know if in foster care, does the foster parent can they get SNAP benefits for their foster children? And she said most of the time the children receive a state stipend if they're in state custody or foster care. So that stipend does include their total expenses, and the caregiver usually does not get a SNAP benefit unless they are low income too. So they would have to qualify. So I was thinking maybe the card would be a benefit for the children, but it goes to the whole family as a unit. And that's all I have.
Thanks. That's good. Any questions? Hey, Camille.
Okay, so I didn't get to interview. So I got in contact with the executive director of the Family Crisis Center here in Rexburg, and she just rescheduled today for a different day. So I'll have to post my answers and questions on the discussion board when we can get to it, whenever she can. But the program that she's with is a Family Crisis Center, like I said, and it's really interesting. After I've known a little bit about the program, just being a marriage and family major and being here in town, doing a few things with it, but they actually offer a lot more than I thought they did after looking at their website and just doing a little bit more research behind it. The main things that they have a 24-hour crisis line for anybody to call in. And then they also have connections with first responders, police, everything like that. They offer a food bank and thrift store, which is on Main Street here, and I've been there a couple times. And they actually they have different English classes. They have legal and court advocacy, a safe shelter. They offer counseling and support groups, and just a lot more than I thought they did. So that was something I learned, even though I couldn't talk to her in time for this meeting. So it was interesting to see how much more there is besides just their thrift store in town and their 24-hour number. They offer a lot more than that, and I had no idea. So I'll post. Hopefully she'll be able to meet in the next few days, and I'll post that once she's able. But yeah.
There's one place that has all that stuff. to go one-stop help. So thank you. Hey, Cheyenne, are you there?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I'm here. Am I next?
Yeah.
So I had the same kind of problem as Camille. The lady I asked to interview, she's my neighbor, and she works as a youth counselor with the school district here. And she hasn't gotten back to me yet either with emailing. But a little bit of what she's worked with my mom with, because my younger siblings are adopted, and one of them's going through a really difficult time right now. So she's kind of been somebody who's helping my mom find resources and things and giving my mom some advice. So that's kind of what I have right now. I can do the same thing as Camille and post more once she gets back to me on that. So
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I can go. So I talked to my friend's mom, works at the Idaho Network of Children's Advocacy. So that is a place, it specializes in helping children who have been sexually abused. So I talked to her about that. So she did get a degree in social work, and so that's what led her to that. We didn't talk a lot about how she got into it. We talked more about what they do there. So let's see where my notes go. So where did I put my notes? Oh, right there. Okay, so they offer like just a couple different services, all dealing with sexual abuse. So they can, if you feel like your child has been acting different and you're wondering if they have been abused, you can take them there, and they have therapists that are specialized in like asking questions that are non-leading, and they can a lot of times like figure out if they have been abused or not. So that's one thing that they do there. And then if you know that there has been abuse, they have therapy for the child to help them cope and just learn how to deal with what happened and just get back to as normal of a life as possible for the child. And they also have therapy services for the parents too, and everyone in the family. So let's see. I asked her the question, well, I asked her all these questions, but specifically the one, is the organization child or family focused? And I thought, let's see, her answer for that one, she says it helps in both cases, because often the entire family will come in together and do therapy, or the parents and the child they'll have separate counseling, but they're all receiving counseling. But then she says other times it's more child focused. If it's a stepfather or something who is the one who abused the child, then it's the organization stepping in where the family's failing. So that was, I guess, her answer for it. It's both child and family focused, depending on what the situation is. We talked about some of my questions that were based on our reading is, what can communities and schools do to watch out? Like, how could we know that maybe there's a child being abused? What are some signs that are common? And so some of the things she said was there's increased fear in safe or risky situations. Oh, okay, hang on, my husband's right here. Sometimes they have difficulty concentrating, difficulty staying still, low self-esteem, mood swings, their grades will drop, they'll be more irritable. So those are just some things that like maybe teachers could look out for, or I guess parents who might have children's friends with some of these things. Let's see. Another thing we talked about was what a parent can do to prevent sexual abuse with their children, because I guess we want to avoid having them use these resources, but like if we can prevent it. But something she said was to keep an open line of communication with your child, So if something happens, they can feel like they can talk to you about it, and then they can get the help they need taking them to these places. And another thing was, she said, trust your gut, that oftentimes you can send your child to a relative's house that you think you should be able to trust, but there's just something in your gut that feels off. And she said always to trust that. Let's see. Okay, so I think that was about the gist of it. We just talked a lot about how it's, I guess, how she's liked the job. It's a hard job, but how it's
we lost Lindsay.
like my notes were all over the place, but there was my interview.
That sounds, so that's just one, it's just one place that just deals with sexual assault.
Yep. Yeah. And that's, yeah, pretty much the only thing that, yeah, they deal with is specifically children being sexually abused.
Okay, well, that's really good. Okay, well, I took the easy way out. I interviewed my CASA supervisor. I happened to be in her office yesterday, so that worked out really great. She got involved with the organization because she was already working at the county courthouse. And when that program opened up, she jumped on the chance to take over that program and start the CASA program in our county. Let's see. So the biggest prevalent problems that we see in dealing with CASA families is either child abuse, but it really comes down, we have just a lot of drug abuse that goes on, and that's why I would say the majority of the kids that are in foster care are there because of drug abuse by their parents. So this organization is really focused to help the child. It's a child advocacy program. But, you know, hopefully it helps the families as well, but our focus is what is in the best interest of this child. So that it's definitely child focused. We help the CASA program helps children and families by having a voice for a child that's in foster care, so that their needs get met and their opinions and desires are heard in a courtroom setting. Most of the time with the social workers and department, they are, you know, they have to work a plan to try to reunify with the parents. So their focus is on the parents. What are the parents doing? Are they doing their services? Are they, you know, meeting all the criteria that they need to meet to get their kids back? And then they check on the kids and say, oh, yep, kids are okay, they're safe. And then, you know, the parent attorneys are fighting for the parents' rights. So historically, there hasn't been anybody that speaks for the voice of the children. And that's where the CASA program came about. We monitor, I'm frequently, here in Washington, I feel like it's, or at least the two counties I work in, I feel like kids are in foster care forever. Parents get so many chances to make, you know, the changes. 11th hour, we're ready to go to termination trial, and they go into treatment. And their kids have been in care for 2 years. You know, it's kind of last ditch efforts, but they get that chance now. Oh, okay, well, let's see how you do after treatment. So we'll postpone this termination. And I'm writing reports where I'm like, this child has been in care for almost 3 years, and the child is 3.5 years old. You know, we need some permanency. So I feel like the system really drags on. The kids are in care forever. So that's part of a CASA. I can at least bring awareness to that and say, you know, this has been going on for a long time. We need to get this resolved. Parents aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They've had all this time. Let's move forward. Or, hey, parents are working really hard. Let's get these kids back in their home, and let's speed up that process. So either way, that's kind of, you know, I don't take sides until I take a side on each case. I don't come in with it, you know, I'm only going to fight for foster parents or parents. I look at the situation and I'm like, where does this, I really try my best, or the CASA program tries to look at that. So that's what the organization does. It helps the community by hopefully lessening the time the kids are in foster care, and it's giving those kids that voice. I just met with a couple kids tonight that, you know, have strong opinions on what they want to happen with their future, and I have to advocate for that. And so helping the community. It's helping these kids have a voice and feel like they have some say in their future. Anyway, it's a great organization. So, is that it?
That is it. Does anyone have any questions that you want to add for anybody on the panel?
No, I would just second that Washington State takes a long time with the program.
Someone told me Spokane was faster.
Did they?
Yes, I had to limit my comment to my counties.
Your county. Well, in my county, it's the same. So
someone said Spokane was a lot better. So it was just a social worker that worked over there. I'm like, okay.
Interesting.
We're 18 months here, so you get
That's
there's
what
like
we're supposed to be.
Yeah, we're 18 months. We have like a 6 month. So I have permanency coming up on April 12th, but I was just doing some work today on a case with IEPs and another one that had an IDEA, and my other kid is down in Georgia, and it's the family's all split up. And so I like spent my entire day with this family, and it's different homes, but it's one unit-ish, and getting the mom on board to understand, like, this is like, we're on month 17, lady.
So got something on month 18. Does it extend?
It will extend for 6 months, but because we put a safety in on this mom, because this would be her third attempt, we actually added a safety that if mom doesn't attend treatment for 15 days or longer, because that's what she keeps doing, she'll wait to the last second. She'll go and check into care, and then 2 days later, she checks herself out or just leaves. So we had to reset again, and I'm like, no, these poor kids. And this is their second time in care. So they had like a 4-year break, and now she's back to, anyways, yeah, drama. I'm glad you did yours on CASA. I'm glad that you did like that. Anyhow, to wrap up, so today we discussed the Family Crisis Center in Rexburg, Idaho, the federal program, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program called SNAP, or previously was food stamps, and then how to access youth counselor services through a local school district, and the Idaho Network of Children Advocacy, which specializes in forensic questioning for sexually abused children and offers therapy services to the children and their families. And then CASA in Washington, and how they advocate for children especially, and look for ways to reunite families or set up permanency plans for the children to exit the family that they're in and move on to foster care and hopefully productive lives that meet their goals as a child.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Next week.
Thanks, guys.